Hello, folks. Phil Gallagher of ThrabenU here for another Legacy stream. Today we're going to be playing a donation deck list from longtime YouTube fan Lucas B, who sent me a deck that they termed Albino Stompy. So we're going to be playing a white Stompy deck today. And they said that their deck idea was like 90% finished, but needed a little bit of extra tuning. So I want to just briefly talk about the original version of the deck and the changes that I made to this before deciding to play it. So originally, this deck did not have Spirit of the Labyrinths, and it did not have Battlefield Forges. Instead, it had Wastelands and a few more 3-drops. And at kind of doing some quick math and just kind of looking at the curve, I noticed two problems. Number one, imagine that these Spirit of the Labyrinths instead are 3-drops. What happens on the hand where you don't have a Soul Land or you don't have a Chrome Mox? You actually end up with very few playable turn 1 and turn 2 plays. So adding Spirit of the Labyrinth into the mix here at a lower spot on the curve means that I have another hate piece that is also castable on the less than optimal hands that you can have. And I believe these have replaced 3 Aven Mind Sensors and 1 Skyclave Apparition that were originally in the deck. I love Skyclave Apparition. Obviously, it is an amazing card. It gave D&T a huge shot in the arm. But if you're trying to play it in an Ancient Tomb City of Traders mana base, the white-white is a little bit harder. So I was also trying to decrease the number of white-white cards that this deck was running. The other change I made was Wasteland. I think I'm going to have a lot to do with my mana between casting things like the 10 4-drops, or like casting new copies of Legion Angel or things that I get from the sideboard with Karn. I just don't know that I can afford to be wastelanding in a lot of scenario. I think I am going to want my mana more than my opponent does. So overall, we're going for this sort of Hate Bears style game plan in a slightly different way than some of the other White Eldrazi lists are trying. Now, the hardest part about these decks is always their mana bases, because you're kind of playing a 2 or 3 color deck in some ways, because you require white and sometimes white, and you also require colorless. And there's this tension between the soul lands and your white cards, and sometimes you have to keep hands that do one thing, but not all of the things. The sideboard is largely accessible in game 1, so the Legion Angels and all of the artifacts there are tutor targets either for the Legion Angels themselves or the Karns. So this is the game plan. This is what I'm going for. Hey, Overvoltage, welcome. I think that's all I have to say. YouTube folks, if you would take a moment and whack that like button, I really would appreciate it before we get started here. It really helps out with the metrics. Listen to Overvoltage. They know what's up. All right. So, we're here for round 1, playing against Cadaverous Bloomer. I watched a video earlier today where they were the opponent, and so I should know what they're on. I remember it was a blue deck. That's all I've got. I think I'm going to keep my Spirit of the Labyrinth Karn hand and hope that it works out. You do a future video on streaming setting tweaks you recently did to improve stream and content quality. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. I don't know that I'm going to have time in the next week or 2 here. I'm scheduled for a lot of like guest content and things of that nature. So I don't know that that's something I can do in the immediate short term, but like I'm down with that more generally. Oh, this is a very different deck from earlier. What are we doing? Okay. So we are playing against a Reclaimer deck of some nature. Spirit of the Labyrinth now not really looking like a great play, and we immediately see the tension between Skyclave Apparition and like Ancient Tomb mana base. I think I'm probably folding to a Wasteland. I'm going to put this Aspirant in play and start to stack counters on it and hope that this becomes relevant. Oh, I hope we see some Scute Swarm. I would be down for that. What is this? Oh, this is that, like, commander card. Alright. I got you. I haven't seen this in Legacy, I don't think, ever. I respect it. We're just gonna put the counter on Aspirant so that Aspirant can attack this turn safely. Yeah, I mean, the changes obviously have been great. Like, the mic sounds great, the stream is much crisper. I guess I can go ahead and attack first, kind of see what happens. I think this goes here? Because there's worlds where I end up, like, using Thalia as, like, a block bounce sort of situation a little bit later on. I think I like Thought-Knot Seer here. Let's kind of keep my opponent from doing whatever the most broken thing that they can do next turn is. Let's stop that. Alright, not super scared of any of this. You're a 3/5, but I can bounce you with Caracas, so your text isn't relevant. You have 2 power, you have 2 power. You cost 3 mana. You give an extra land drop. I guess you're the scariest. We'll see if my opponent has, like, a crazy good land to find. Nope, just value flagstones. My opponent probably needs to be in, like, chump block territory, but the issue is that I'm presenting multiple threats that are lethal here. And I can also just get another card out of the way. I'm gonna go ahead and tap the Ancient Tomb. I don't think it matters. Yeah, they're quite dead. Aspirant quietly doing a lot of work there, like attacking in for 5 this turn. Love it. Um, I don't really know that we're the sort of deck that gets to sideboard. I think that's kind of our lot in life. I probably don't want to be playing Trinispheres in this matchup, so I should try to find something to replace that. I could just play a Walking Ballista to ping idiots. I don't love that. Eyeglass is medium. I can bring in an Apparition. Uh, Rest in Peace, like, technically does stuff, but I think a lot of my other cards are going to be better to spend my mana casting than Rest in Peace. Like, it shutting off flagstones is kind of cool, and it also stops some of the Ramunap Excavator shenanigans. So I think what I'm looking at right now is, like, should I bring in 2 Rest in Peace, or should I bring in 2 Sorceress Spyglass? Sorceress Spyglass can shut off things like Knight of the Reliquary and Elvish Reclaimer, as well as weird utility lands we might see like Maze of Ith. I could also just, like, play an Umazao's Jitte. I I don't want to set myself up for, like, a clippable moment or anything, but it's hard to imagine the world where I really want to be stopping Crucian Verge, you know? This hand's awkward. Like, I can play a turn 1 Luminarch Aspirant and kind of, like, try to be the beatdown. I think this hand is good if I draw literally any white card that I can put under the Chrome Mox so that I can go Aspirant into Skyclave. So I'm going to go ahead and keep this. All right. So there are other ways to play this hand. It's also reasonable to put Luminarch Aspirant under here, play Sorcerous Spyglass on turn 1, and then save 2 apparitions for whatever like follow-up cards they have. But I'm hoping that attacking for like 3, then 4, then 5, plus whatever damage this gets to do is just going to be strong enough. It's not really what I want. I'm going to opt for the tempo play here. No, we're a slightly different sort of animal here. This is definitely a brew. So we're more of like a Legion Angel Luminarch Aspirant beatdown deck. I guess we're naming Wasteland. It's not really. I mean, I could just still name Elvish Reclaimer. Their Wastelands don't really do anything. Like, they blow up my lands. I don't know. If they, like, Force of Vigor my Chrome Mox and blow up lands. Alright, I'll name the Wasteland. I'm gonna continue to make one large creature. There's worlds where I need to have a creature large enough to attack through, like, a Knight of the Reliquary or Primeval Titan, even. Yeah, so my good name. The question is, like, do you name the card that you know is in their hand, or do you just take them off of something that's better? So if opponent was going to do this, they probably should have done it in my upkeep. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I agree. I went with the thing that was on board. Ooh, a Titania. So that's not bad. That represents a, what is it, a 5/3 elemental. Oh, nice. Now we get to grab another Windswept Heath. Okay, so I need to sneak in 1 damage here. I can attack in with the Aspirant and the Skyclave. and one of my creatures ends up surviving. So if I attack in with both, putting... actually, no, that's not really true. I probably shouldn't attack this turn. I should just accrue a counter. My opponent's hand essentially is just mono blanks. Yeah, I brain farted and forgot they Force of Vigored. So since I messed up there, I probably need to attack with the Aspirant. I could have put the counter here and, like, essentially lose my board. I think this just makes them chump, and then I get a better attack next turn. Yeah, this should have just gone on Wasteland, though. Um, Mentally, I went, I still have this. Sorry about that. So now I'll just try to build up an army and beat through my opponent. I can probably still sneak that last point of damage. I'm not super worried about it, but I definitely messed up. I don't know. Like, they do have... That's a little annoying. Yeah. I should have just named Wasteland. Like, I realized that just a little bit too late. I kind of mentally shortcutted and went, like, this card I'm playing doesn't really matter, and then it ended up mattering later. Now my opponent has, like, Bounce Thalia. I shouldn't have put the counter on there then, I guess. But their line is probably... Oh, no, they are going to do that. I thought their line was going to be, like, bounce their own Titania for returning lands. Oof. That's rough. SCK, thank you very much for gifting the subs. I do appreciate it. Alright, I think my opponent has turned the corner on this one now. Like, Valakut's active with that going on. Yeah, I think I threw this game. Yeah. Yeah, I threw this one. I think I'm going to run back the same plan. Yeah, so if I name Wasteland instead of Titania, or sorry, if I name Wasteland instead of Windswept Heath, they get one fewer elemental. And then I just attack him with 3 creatures. This hand doesn't really do anything. This hand is not great either, but I probably keep this one. I think this one is totally fine if I rip a soul land, and pretty questionable if I don't. Let's try to mise this one by cutting them off green. My opponent has split their cards, unfortunately. So that's not going to work here. Yeah, so now we're going to be missing out on, like, the damage of Aspirant. This is going to be, like, fine to good, though. I mean, that's a nice pickup, but I can't cast it. Skyclave apparitions are now just going to eat me alive. I really needed to get a 4-drop into play and, like, really get something that matters. Now my opponent gets flagstones, which gives them white. I'm set back a lot. I probably just lose the Archon here. Oh no, I lose the Aspirant. I mean, that's fine. So now I have to decide between taking the Titania and taking the Skyclave. I probably have to take the Skyclave and deal with the Titania via Caracas. Otherwise, like, Skyclave eats Thought-Knot Seer, and I kind of end up in a pretty awkward spot. I said kinda. It's not great. And the fact that this is a basic isn't really good for me either. Okay. There's 2 lands in graveyard, so Elvish Reclaimer can become a 3/4. I probably just need to battle. To do something like cast this pre-combat, exile the Reclaimer, see what they can do with that. They'll send away the Flagstones for some other land. Or that. Ah, right. The problem here is that my opponent has a flyer, so I don't get to just like free roll necessarily finish things off in 2 turns. What is this pause for? Do they have Force of Vigor? I don't know what this pause is for. Full disclosure, while we have a minute here, I am exhausted. I don't mean to use that to defend bad plays tonight, but just a heads up. I had meetings all day from 8:50 a.m. to 3, just continuously. A new meeting every 10 minutes. So I am running on fumes tonight. All right, so I have 3 damage guaranteed in the air. Half my opponent's life total, but then they have a flyer the following turn. Do I bounce this? They'll make a 5/3. They could block both of these creatures. This is a little weird. It's like they get to rebuy the effect to get more elementals. I think I'm going to go ahead and do it because it sets me up a little bit better for some things like a walking ballista kill to finish things off. A second flyer is also just quite nice. All right, what am I attacking in with? Probably just the Archon. And I don't really think life gain is super an option for my opponents. So I should be fine to hold back with everything else. And I think I tap this to leave up Caracas. Not 100% sure there. Yeah, SCK, you get it. The continuous meetings is just so grating because each one of the meetings lasts about 5 minutes, and then there's about 5 minutes before the next one, which isn't actually enough time to accomplish anything meaningful. So, like, I work for 5 minutes, spend about 2 minutes entering the grades or something after that, then basically have time to get in the call again and wait for the kid. It was rough. I don't regret it, and I set up that system myself, but it was a long day. Round 2, our opponent has started off with a mulligan. I'll be keeping this hand. I'm not sure what is going under this Chrome Mox yet. Either one of these going under is definitely possible depending on what our opponent's first turn looks like. But my current leaning is that it's likely to be Legion Angel, so that I can do a sequence of like Chalice of the Void into Thalia into Thought-Knot Seer. But, you know, that can change a lot. If our opponent leads on a Snowland, oh, fuck me. All right. Oh, did I say game 2? Match 2. Round 2. Number 2. Dose, duo, whatever you want to call it. That's where we're at. So we won round 1 versus the green-white Reclaimer deck. And now we're going to lose round 2 to Oops All Spells. So let me just confirm. There's the Thassa's Oracle. There is the Dread Return, so I am deterministically dead. The original sideboard had 3 Mindbreak traps, which I cut for more just like reasonable sideboard cards, and I'm super punished for doing that here. We are almost with certainty going to win game 2. And then we're almost certainly going to lose game 3. Maybe? I don't know. Like, the worlds where this gets to eat, like, a piece of artifact mana or something, and, like, it's actually hyper-relevant are pretty rare. SCK, like, what happens on the channel is really donation dependent. I've got a second here. I'm not going to use all this time for sideboarding. So let me look at the queue. I've got 2 things after this in the queue. So I have a hidden stockpile tokens deck that I'm going to play Saturday, and a hollow one deck that is queued up for Wednesday. But I don't really know what's going on beyond that. Yeah, Lucas B knew what was going up in designing the sideboard. I was a fool. I made changes. That's on me. All right, maybe these aren't good enough. Maybe Spyglass for like Balustrad's Spy is like not actually good enough to be keeping a hand based on. Oh, Legion Angels are quite bad. Let's do something like this. I could board out a couple more Aspirants for Spyglasses, but I do want to make sure that I present enough of a clock to kill my opponent once I play a first hate piece. I need to do something on turn 1 or I die. So this hand is not acceptable. Same, but with this hand. This is a really good 5-card hand, but our opponent has kept 7, and I'm just gonna die if I don't mulligan again. All right, this is our 4-card hand. Junk that, and I guess there's minimal difference between these, so I'll keep the card that has utility. All right, so Chancellor of the Annex has been boarded in. So, guess that means I am playing a Chalice on 0 this turn. I guess I should have played Caracas. This might not actually even do anything. It stops the artifact mana and clears the Chancellor trigger, but I might just die. All right, there goes an Elvish Spirit Guide. And what would you like to do with that? Another one? Or the same one? I see. They are blinking the Elvish Spirit Guide in and out of existence right now. All right. Thanks for showing me the spirit guide. I will now play Trinisphere. All right, now I need to find a way to win the game. A ham sandwich would do nicely. You have to have triple spirit guide in order to do something here. So we can deduce a good amount about our opponent's hand based on their plays. They should not have conceded there. That is a lazy concession. I have no clock. I have one card left. It's likely to be a land, just based on sheer statistics. Like, all you have to do is get to 4 mana, and now you have a whole bunch of lands that you can find, and you already have one spirit guide. On the draw, I am going to take these spyglasses. There's going to be some weird fringe scenarios where my opponent passes after playing Balustrade Spy, and on the draw, I think I need to take those chances. No, we have basically no chance game 3. Like, the way we win game 3 is winning based on our opponent's fail rate. Alright, my opponent has mulliganed. I can keep a hand that has a turn 1 Thalia Heretic Cathar. I think I ship this one. My opponent will play out any artifact mana that they have. I don't know that this hand actually does anything. This is the best hand so far by quite a bit. So the most relevant cards here are this. Opponent has kept their 5. My Karn gets things, but we're looking for a 1-2 punch to win the game. I don't need that, and I probably don't need this. And cool, everything's in their deck, so we deterministically lose. Magic is great. Thank you for printing Thassa's Oracle. Um, this is an extremely awkward hand. It casts a Chalice on 1, maybe followed by a Chalice on 2. And if that's good, cool. And if that's bad, I just, like, die. I don't know that this hand consistently does stuff. I have one dead card already, and the average 6-card hand probably is better than this. So I'm going to ship this. God. This is how tonight goes, huh? All right. Let's hope we, like, are playing against the Oops now, like, when we're on the play with a turn 1 Archon. This is not what I'm looking to be doing in Legacy. Like, hopefully this just, like, murders our opponent, and then I top deck another relevant spell. Because if this just gets Force of Will, I have nothing left. Or Bolted, or Swords to Plowshare, or whatever. Well, maybe this is good. I just have no gas, though, which is kind of the big problem here. What? Um, do I need an adult? I might need an adult. I'm unsure exactly what Phyrexian Walker means in this situation. The last time I saw a Phyrexian Walker in play, like it was part of a like Cheerios combo deck. I don't know whether or not that actually that plays Ancient Tomb. Uh we could be playing against some like crazy affinity tempered steel overseer sort of shenanigans. Like I don't know. Let's read the flavor text on this. I've heard terrible tales of black rains, ashen fields, and metal that screams. I have consoled myself that the tales were a myth of some fevered mind, but today I saw a walker, and now I fear for the truth. That's fucking metal. Still very unsure about what's happening over there. I don't think I fear immediate death or anything, but I I am confused. Oh, it blocks Goblin Guide. Yeah, also blocks Small Thalia. Good thing we're not playing that. I don't know what's happening. This is probably like very quietly doing a lot of work at keeping me from being dead. All right, I don't know what to put that on. I'm gonna go with 0. Give him the O. Zero's probably gonna be okay versus the Phyrexian Walker Memnite deck. Could be wrong though. Like I might be supposed to put this on 2 because a bunch of the payoff cards might be 2s. Like is my opponent just playing like Gaia's Cradle and like they're gonna accelerate into something cool? Oh shit. That's that's pretty cool. So I've been seeing a lot of this card in Historic. So your colorless creatures get +2/+2. Whenever you tap a permanent for mana, you add an additional mana. Whenever you cast a colorless spell, you gain 2 life. So now we're not just guaranteed to like get to kill them with Archon, right? Like I can attack in for 2 and then they cast 1 spell and they gain 2 back. So this is actually pretty good for our opponent. Yeah, I am on board with whatever shenanigans our opponent is doing. Two five. 2/5. You can barely read it. Milosis, I think Chef at Dunes is just like strictly better than Battlefield Forge, right? Because you get an activated ability and then everything else is the same. I didn't think of it. I was subbing out for Wastelands, which I thought were too greedy. And so my concern was I need something that taps for colorless and white, and that was the first thing that came to mind. Um, but for any viewers at home looking to try this out later, yes, I 100% recommend that change. Yeah, so most of the time I just like run the donation deck list with whatever the person sends me. But this time they said, "Hey, I think this idea is close, but it needs a little tweaking." All right. So, how the F do I sideboard? I like this. I probably am supposed to board in one of Walking Ballista or Jitte. Yeah, I am on the free Luris train. I am ready to be heard again. No, seriously, I think that card's really cool, and I would love to be like trying that out in all sorts of decks. I don't even know that you play it as a companion. Like, I would be totally fine slotting that sucker into my main deck and like giving it a go. Chalices are pretty weird on the draw. I don't know that they're actually good on the draw. So like, I don't think I want to board out any bodies. So these are my weak links. Both of these are just so bad on the draw. I think I'm gonna try to dump all the Trinispheres. And board in those and that. Oh wait, no. I just can't count. That's 60. Yeah, this is fine then. Doctor Stacks. Have you tried Vintage? They let you play all the broken things there, but they just give you one as a treat. So this hand seems fine. We get turn 1 Thalia Heretic Athar into Thought-Knot Seer. Okay, alright, almost everything. You can't really restrict Luris, you know? Like, it doesn't quite work, or at least it didn't with, like, old companion rule. Opponent's idea is really neat. Like, I always love to see design space being explored. I know everyone is not of this opinion, but I loved the, like, Luris companion gameplay. I enjoyed that so much. I mean, deck building was warped as hell, don't get me wrong, but the games were super interesting. All right, so that's the third artifact. Turn on Mox Opal. So now what happens? Hey, Steel Overseer, I was right. Now I have something better to put under the from Mox as well. We had some good times with the hippo. Although, if I'm being honest, a lot of the good times with the hippo didn't actually involve casting the hippo. Like, we were doing ridiculous, like, green, red, big stuff that murdered our opponents. Our opponent is out of cards. So much for turn 2 Thought-Knots here being good. Hey, how do you feel about feeding Spirit of the Labyrinth to a Walking Ballista and Steel Overseer combo? You feel as bad about it as I do? Both teams tried hard. I'm not going to concede here because I want to see more cards in their deck. But yikes. Our opponent is thinking about activating a Walking Ballista here. They have no reason to do that before they untap, draw their card, and gain more information. I have no mana up. There's no spell that I could play for free here that's commonly played that would be relevant. Been a long time since Force of Virtue hit play and punished someone. Phyrexian mana was it was a mistake. That mechanic is so strong. I think one of my favorite examples of that was just like the standard environment at the time. I think dismembers were about $10 just because like you shove them into everything because a 1 mana spell that answered like most relevant cards at the time, including some of the weird stuff that were hard to answer like Phyrexian Obliterator, was strong. All right, so I know I said I was gonna like wait to see more of their cards, but I'm getting kind of bored. They are they are down a lot of clock, considering just conceding. Okay, what do you get out of playing that Mox Opal? Yeah, I think this onboard stuff is gonna beat me. Gonna go ahead and ship it there. So the chalices are now good again on the play. The Trinisphere can be good. I don't know whether or not it's correct to just play that. I could play Sorceress Spyglass, but Karn is gonna kind of do that anyway. I think I'm just gonna run this back and keep the threat density high. I think playing one of Archon, Thalia, Karn or Chalice early. Buys us so much time. Yeah, I played quite a bit of that standard. That was probably about the 2.5 year period in which I played standard pretty religiously. This hand doesn't have a turn 1 play. It has 2 different Karns, but I don't know that I can just go land, go, followed by Spirit. Like, that's a very weak opener. I'm gonna go ahead and ship this. Huh. I probably have to keep this one. I don't love this. Oh, my opponent has gone down to 5. In which case, this hand is probably good. We'll see. A couple of creatures on turn 1 followed by a Steel Overseer or something can still just be very, very scary. Bridge plus Karn is probably something that my opponent can't beat. Because Karn shuts off Walking Ballista, which would be their out to it. Yeah, Rogue Judge, but there's also the chance that they keep a respectable hand that plays Walking Ballista into Steel Overseer or vice versa, and that eats me alive if I just keep a Chalice do nothing hand. So I think I have to keep a reasonable 6-card hand that does stuff. Yeah, that's fine. We are now up 7 minutes of clock, though. I am dying. I don't have much to say about the game state or the matchup. Like, I don't know enough about the opponent's deck to know what's going on. Okay, so you can trade that for Luminarch Aspirant immediately. So this right here will be the moment where my opponent has to decide. Oh, they have decided they don't care about that. So we will just play the card that has higher toughness here, specifically because of Walking Ballista. I really kind of think my opponent was supposed to trade Walking Ballista for Aspirant. Like, they're unlikely to be able to get to the point where Ballista is going to be able to kill this plus something else. And if they do, it costs them a lot of life over time via Ancient Tomb. I see. Yeah, now with a land, I think I just ruin them. There we go. Okay, so how do I handle this turn? I think I try to put a counter on Archon of Emeria. Oh wow, they're just letting me have it, huh? So I 100% attack with that. Maybe I don't. I can hold it back, play Karn. And they play Karn. They can trade Ballista for this. Karn is a little awkward. I could just stay defensive and try to defend the Karn. I get very good at defending the Karn over time. I think I actually like that. Okay. So it's alive. I think I just plus try to keep its loyalty high. And then at some point in the not too distant future, I start thinking about grabbing an ensnaring bridge once I feel a little more confident that the ground is sufficiently stalled. I guess I can top deck the Forsaken Monument, and then things are a little spooky for me. I also don't know if I need to be playing around a removal spell like Spatial Contortion or something. So I can grab something spooky out of the sideboard. Then Karn goes down to 4 loyalty. I don't know that that's actually good. At 4 loyalty, my opponent does have a line that results in the Karn dying. Well, I can only play 1 spell a turn because of Archon, so the bridge isn't quite good yet. I don't know that I want to be putting more cards in my hand. I could get this. Like, grab that, kill one of their best creatures, then start attacking next turn. That's pretty cool. Oh man, thank you very much for the raid. I'll give you a proper introduction in just a second after I'm finished thinking through this line here. Let's take out the Walking Ballista because that represents one of the scarier things that can happen to me if life gets a little bit bad later on. So then next turn, we can attack for lethal all at once. I just plus on this, attack in, Lightning Bolt, and then attack in with Archon. So I can also just like pretty safely slow my roll this turn. I like it. All right, for those of you joining in, hi, I'm Phil Gallagher of ThrabenU. We are currently playing Quite the Brew. Check out Cardboard Live to see what it is exactly. But we are playing a Luminarch Aspirant Legion Angel Stompy deck, and we're currently paired against a rather strange affinity deck playing Forsaken Monument. I also could just grab Mycosynth Lattice here. But the people probably want to see me attack with this, right? That's what they want. That's probably what the people want. People have seen Mycosynth Lattice a lot. But let's not make the correct line. Let's make a line that attacks with a boat. I don't think it's correct to make a bigger boat, he says as he makes an obviously incorrect play. Yeah, if we were playing on Arena, we would get like cool vehicle noises. Like when you play the barge, it's like woo woo. Oh, it's time to queue up the Lonely Island, right? I'm on a boat and it's in the sky and it's shooting lightning bolts like I don't know, a wizard man? What shoots lightning bolts? Okay, we are playing against a Yorion deck in this round, and this hand kind of does nothing. It has a lot of endgame gas. If we are playing against a Yorion control deck, this hand is probably fine to keep. And if we are playing against like a Yorion Death and Taxes deck, we will just die for keeping this. So I'm going to go ahead and mulligan. Oh, this hand's way better. This hand is way better. I'm going to go ahead and pitch the second white source. That's hopefully not immediately necessary. All right, we're just going to Eldrazi our opponent this game. Yeah, Ziffa, that was a major problem with some of the early versions of Death and Taxes I tried with Legion Angel, is eating up 3 sideboard slots is just brutal. Why would you not wasteland me? Why? No, seriously though, I'm trying to rationalize their play, and the only thing I'm coming up with is that they have Charming Prince in hand that they want to cast because they also have like Flicker Wisp for the following turn or something. Or they themselves are land light. Alright, let's figure out what's going on. Well. Number one, I think Swords to Plowshares was probably supposed to be cast in response to Thought-Knot Seer. Oh, nope, they're not even going to path now. Oh, sorry. Yep, alright, I take it back. I shouldn't have taken that card. Yeah, remember when I said I was, like, completely exhausted? That is just a great example of that. My bad there. I could have just, like, taken... I top-topped with that. Yeah, I could have just taken both Skyclaves here. Bleh. This is an exile. That's cute. So I can just go for Mycosynth Lattice Lock. But if I just pass, my opponent should Wasteland me. I can also like throw away the City of Traders and get a Chalice. Like minus, get Chalice. Then like grab a Walking Ballista the following turn. I think I like this. Cornea, thank you very much for your continued support. Yeah, so like when you're tired and you play Magic, you don't play good Magic. And when you're tired and you play Magic and you're streaming, you play even worse Magic. So there have been just multiple times this week where I have just done stupid stuff and then I realized it about 10 seconds later. And Karn minus get Liquid Metal Coating. Use Liquid Metal Coating as a Rashadan port this turn, trying to keep them off of Skyclave, and if that works, I end up in a pretty hot position. I think I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Can't attack with Thought Nuts here if I'm gonna take this line, though. Line's pretty bad if they spike the land, but great otherwise. Seems like I hit. Nope. JK. The wheels probably fall off this one now. That's an interesting line. That's just like really valuing that path to exile just so much. I don't really love what's going to happen in this turn cycle, but it is what it is. I'm hoping that I can just continue to blow up my opponent's lands. I mean, to be fair, my lines don't make any sense either, right? Like, I'm playing like crap. But yeah, I think my opponent has had a number of better lines than what they have taken, for sure. Yeah, like I definitely punted this one away just by like naming wrong. I think for the sake of time, I'm just gonna throw in the towel here. Let's get this like Chalice and Trinisphere sort of stuff out for some fair cards. So let's board in this. Actually, maybe we're just boarding Trinispheres out. I really want to be able to wish for the Ballista. I think I'll board in the Jitte and board in one Sorceress Spyglass. Against Yori and taxes, I don't know that I want to board in a whole bunch of Spyglasses. Like it has text. It stops Wasteland and Port and Vials and stuff. But that deck is a little bit less consistent. I will keep this. We're gonna like play out the same game as last time around, except I'm gonna remember that I have a Chalice of the Void. Oh, JK, we died. Maybe we didn't die, but it looks bad. So Karma, the idea with Legion Angel is you play one, and then it gets you another one out of the sideboard, and that one gets you yet another one out of the sideboard. So it's meant to be a source of card advantage. All right, so I've remembered that I have a Chalice of the Void. Let's take out the Flicker Wisp. So you have to remember that opponent has Caracas in their deck, and that's kind of the deal breaker here in terms of decision making. If I play out Thalia and they have Caracas, it's just like an ultimate feel bad moment. I lose a like relevant body for offense and defense. Hmm. City of Traders or Ancient Tomb would be my best draw. Luminarch Aspirant would also be quite good. They have topped. Top is not good for me. I don't have something to allow me to cast one of these 4-drops, unfortunately. I don't think I'm willing to trade Thought Nuts here for their 2 creatures. That's quite good. And they picked the best equipment against my hand. Any land or white card is great here. I guess that doesn't actually cast the Thought Knot, huh? Awkward. So I guess Archon attacks in, and I pass the turn, and then I get a Battered Skull, and I don't know that I come back. Okay. Now, what is the plan? How am I winning? Skyclave Apparition doesn't answer Batter Skull. Is this an ensnaring bridge game now? Might need to be an ensnaring bridge game. Drag it on for a long time. They have Jitte, though. God damn it. Archon. Archon means that I can't cast my 4-drop now. That's brutal. Alright, that should kill me. Because now they also get Jitte counters, so they'll have Jitte counters to beat Ensnaring Bridge. Alright, I think I'm gonna throw in the towel here. I don't think I'm going to beat that. Archon, like, plus Chromox here was just devastating. Oh, okay. My good name. Here's kind of what happens. You end up being able to attack through an ensnaring bridge because of Stoneforge Mystic. So you can shrink down a Stoneforge, attack in, get new Jitte counters. You're able to dance around that sort of stuff. So I just don't think we're going to be able to hide behind that bridge forever. Oh yeah, I guess that's a true point. Like I said, I am real out of it tonight. Um, but regardless, I don't necessarily think I'm coming back from this position anyway. I don't think I can hold the Karn alive for another turn cycle. So they attack in, they have 2 Jitte counters. I play a Karn, I have 2 bodies on board. The Karn minuses, they can attack in, accrue more Jitte counters, Karn dies. It's not a good deck. Final round here. We are paired against another Yorion deck, and this hand's kind of unimpressive, especially if it's Death and Taxes. Like, all of our cards are bad against Death and Taxes, so I'm going to go ahead and mulligan. Ugh. This hand is also not good. Going to 5 is also problematic, though. The issue with this hand is that, like, I'm going to Lightning Bolt myself every turn, and the cards that I'm putting into play aren't amazing. Uh... Alright. I will keep 5 of these. What am I doing? Keeping... I don't know that I can keep the Chromox on 5. Like, toss back Chromox and Karakas. This is not what I'm looking to be doing in the matchup. I really want some sort of, like, Aspirant or Thought Not Seer based hand where I get aggressive. There's some sort of, like, Yorion Snow deck. Oh. Well. This hand is now salvageable, for sure. Don't take Resolved Chalice as actually being all that good. Like, there can be Abrupt Decay around the corner, there can be Oko around the corner. I think to have a better chance at slowing down an Oko, I'm going to play Thalia Heretic Cathar. Ancient Tomb's fine. Like, every time you play against some sort of Delver deck and you have the Ancient Tomb, though, like, you feel it. Oh, Punishing Fire. So we might be playing against some sort of, like, Lin Chalice style Punishing Dax Strifopile sort of shenanigans. Ice Fang? Ice Fang. Fuck. Well, it probably just has to be Toxic Deluge. But just ow. Just ow. I'll take that. There is a world where our opponent is just putting that in the graveyard for something like Uro. Yes, opponent is playing good Magic cards, and more than 60 of them in the main deck, so yeah, we could be in trouble. This doesn't have Death Touch yet. Our opponent needs at least 3 other snow permanents. So the attack in is fine. There is some awkwardness with playing the Spirit of the Labyrinth into a potential deck. So, like, hypothetically, our opponent could deck, then target us. We would draw 1, then discard 2, and I'd lose the Spirit Skyclave Apparition. A little weird. They would have to rip that land naturally and see the line. They would probably see the line. I think I need to just play this out, though. All right, they have chosen to get an Ambush Viper. Oh no. They targeted themselves, so they just discarded 2 cards. And I get to eat this deck. Opponent has realized what they did. Hey, everyone does dumb stuff. I've done a lot of dumb stuff this stream. I've done way more dumb stuff than usual. Yeah, well, that's pretty good. That eliminates all of my good attacks. Unless they Punishing Fire now, in which case I can still attack in with Thought-Knots here. Kind of. No Graveyard Hate, huh? No Tormod's Crypt. Kind of big game here. Damn, I wish I had a Tormod's Crypt. So I can like Karn, get Jitte, put it on Thought Knot Seer, attack in, trade for their board. I can play Karn, get Liquid Metal Coating. Liquid Metal Coating, Grove. They Punishing Fire, Spirit of Labyrinth in response, and then attack all of their creatures in at Karn, and Karn's dead. That's not great. Can play Karn, just plus it. Let Spirit die. Eh. Yeah, everything is just bad. Alright, I am going to pick up Liquid Metal Coating here. Because I think a lot of the lines where I get to do cool stuff involve my opponent messing up. So what I'm going to do here is attempt to Liquid Metal Coating this and hope that they miss it. So this is the point where they have to Grove and cast it. And if they miss this here, they figured it out. If they miss that there, I end up in a really great position. Oh, they just sent it directly at Karn. Okay, so now they're going to attack in with Ice Fang instead. All right, I see. All right. I played towards the mistake, but now if I get another Karn, I get to, like, answer this. Man, not having a Tormod's Crypt in the sideboard, just brutal. I don't even think I play this right now. So I can attack with Archon and trade it for Ice Fang plus Punishing Fire in this turn cycle. I don't think I'm supposed to do that, though. I think I'm going to settle in for a longer game. That's interesting. If I make this a 5/5. Oh, this is just gonna die. This isn't gonna make it to combat. Ugh. Well, our opponent has one more effective card in hand. They have the Orion. So when they put that into play, they're gonna draw a card and kill one of my creatures. So the answer is them. I have some specific cards that can swing things my way very hard, like very, very hard. I need to be able to blow up this Grove of the Burn Willows. If I can do that, I might be able to stay in this game. Or I can draw a Legion Angel, which can be a little bit obnoxious. The other thing I could have done a couple turns ago was like Skyclave Apparition this thing, and then like just try to kill with Archon of Emeria in the air. I just felt like my opponent's deck was going to have so many removal spells that that's not actually a realistic way to win. And I want to have this for like Oko, Uro, something of that caliber that comes in. Oh, this is great. Awkward with my Aspirant, but great. I think I just go ahead and ram that out there. God damn it. That's rough. Oh, I fucked up. I fucked up. I could have played Luminarch Aspirant and then put another counter on something this turn cycle because I can't Punishing Fire this turn cycle now. Which means that attack is free this turn. Oh yeah, I guess I can't either. Archon too strong. I'm so not used to playing with this card. Yeah, being tired and then playing a new deck. Bad combo. Yeah, my creatures are fine and safe. Like I can't, none of them can get double Punishing Fired and die. I guess each one of these Luminarch Aspirants now becomes kind of like a weird either pump spell or distraction from a Punishing Fire. So I think I'm supposed to cast one. Try to go to combat. Put a counter on one of these. Now, as long as opponent doesn't have another Ice Fang Coatl, this attack is safe. They have another Ice Fang Coatl. This is not safe. I don't know why opponent isn't putting Yorion in hand. Actually, is it just better to cast Skyclave Apparition this turn? Because now I have exactly lethal. I cast the Skyclave. Icefang Coatl is gone. I attack in for 5. 1 Punishing Fire doesn't do it. Yeah, I think I'm good with this. Like, my opponent has a couple of cards, so stuff can happen. But I think eliminating the flyer here is pretty important. Okay. So that has been exiled, and my opponent can't cast another spell, and they are deterministically dead to Archons. Whew. What a slog. No, Gainswalker, I have to pick because of my own Archon, right? Like, that's the card we keep talking about. It is symmetrical. It is an each player. Okay, so first thing that's coming in is Rest in Peace, because, like, holy shit, I need to deal with that graveyard. That's really important. After that, I probably want another Skyclave Apparition. And then most of the rest of the stuff looks okay. On the draw, I don't know that I love Trinisphere. I also don't know how good Chalice actually is against this deck. Yeah, so Archon of Emeria is symmetrical. Each player can't cast more than one spell each turn, and then the second half isn't. Non-basic lands your opponent's control enter the battlefield tapped. So many cards are awkward here. I'm thinking about cutting an Archon or like maybe a Luminarch Aspirant. Aspirant's so good at just like punching and punishing the slow Yorion starts though. Everything is medium versus like they're better cards though. Like everything is bad against Toxic Deluge. That's just gonna be how this rolls. I think I'm just gonna get rid of a 3-drop. And on the play, I might play Trinisphere. Eh, it's not fast, but I have a lot of cards that are good in the matchup. So I think I keep this. Chalice is fine. I won't give it any better than fine. Like, my opponent is going to have a good number of cards at different CMCs, so I am not just guaranteed to lock them out of the game. Since I have 3 of these, I'm just going to start jamming them, and one of them will stick around eventually. Maybe. This is a hand that, like Grove of the Burn Willows, would just obliterate. Okay, so opponent didn't realize the whole Spirit of the Labyrinth Dak Vaden last time. Do you think they'll realize it this time? Because if they don't realize it this time... I can just Karn, though, so I don't think I need to really take a risk here. Just casting Legion Angel's okay as well. We're just going to grab a Sorcerer Spyglass and shut off Dak, and then once we shut off Dak, I can play something like Spirit of the Labyrinth or Luminarch Aspirant and start working towards the board. You have to be careful because, like, Dak can minus and steal artifacts, so you want to play out things that aren't super relevant. But again, like, a Tormod's Crypt would be so good. This will give us perfect information for the rest of the turn as well. Fuck me. Okay. Well. This is the worst. I will name Pernicious Deed. My donation information is below the stream if you're interested in that sort of stuff. Got about the next 2 weeks queued up. Oh, I don't know that I like that brainstorm. Well, I guess if you're fishing everything away with Dak anyway, it's not the end of the world. The thing about playing the 2-drops is that I know they have Grove and they have Punishing Fire in their graveyard. So that's not actually accomplishing all that much. Whereas this is something that is going to live through a Punishing Fire. Yeah, so when I Sorcerer Spyglass their hand, I saw Grove plus Brainstorm. Yeah, one of the 3 Rest in Pieces would, like, absolutely be one of my best draws here. Hitting Cling to Dust and, not Pernicious Deed, Punishing Fire at the same time would be so good. And Uro, like, holy shit. If I can use my one-time dealer for this league, this is the perfect time to draw. Up, rest in peace. Nope. Failed. One thing that makes me nervous is that my opponent kept Pernicious Deed instead of discarding it. Is this a vomit turn? Just try to overload the board. I could play like Spirit, Aspirant, hold up Caracas. Attack Dak for 5. I don't love it, I don't hate it. I have a Battlefield Forge to get rid of if my opponent targets me with Dak. Alright. I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. It'd be a brutal Ice Fang Coatl. Oh, shit. I meant to play another Spirit of the Labyrinth. I mapped all of my keyboard shortcuts onto my mouse, and I just like straight up clicked the wrong button. So they can't actually Punishing Fire and Uro this turn, huh? Because that would cost... Or no, I guess they have the Punishing Fire in hand already, so they could. Green. Green, green, blue, blue, colorless, red. Yeah, they can do it. I gave them 1 card by not playing the second Spirit. Like, it's still probably fine. I end up with a dead Dak, and I'm ahead on board, and my opponent has used a lot of the fuel from their graveyard. But it's not ideal. Oh, nice. They didn't Punishing Fire. Oh, they wanted to get rid of the Aspirant. Yeah, that's fine. Let's send that back to the Shadow Realm. And then I can start doing serious work. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana available. I'll probably Thought Not Seer and Spirit of the Labyrinth. I think I would like to Thought Not Seer pre-combat. Like, just 100% make sure nothing can go wrong. Oh, 2 Uros. Those aren't really real cards. I think I just get rid of the Pernicious Deed, even though it's Sorceress Spyglass, because the deeds are so, like, it's so scary if my opponent has, like, Snapcaster Mage for Assassin's Trophy, and then they deed this board. I think I still just go ahead and get rid of that. Now that I know exactly what they have, I'm just going to play this out pre-combat. So that can go to Dak, and this can go to their face. A Life from the Loam. Man, those rest in pieces, though. They will be so good. Yeah, I just have 9 onboard points of damage right now. There, like, yet another one of these in the sideboard. Yeah, there's one more. 4/8. I just YOLO and walk into Toxic Deluge. I guess let's do the combat math first. So this puts them to 9. They can double Punishing Fire one of these, meaning they're already taking 5 next turn, or more realistically, 4 next turn. So I probably do want to do this twice. Yes, we're going to look. No matching cards. Okay. So this puts them probably on exactly Toxic Deluge. Yeah, Legion Angel is sweet. Their opponent can cycle an Uro for 3 mana. Boy, thank you very much for following. I hope you are enjoying the content. Playing 1 Uro puts them to 11. Is still lethal through one of my creatures being removed via Punishing Fire. Okay, that gives them a redraw. They can get 1 more redraw with an Uro. They are now not dead next turn. They go to 1. As long as they kill my Legion Angel with 5 power. An Aspirant or a Karn represents lethal next turn. That's also quite good. Two shuts off the Punishing Fire that I know about. 3 shuts off Uro. One, two, three for Uro. 1, 2, 3, 4 for Uro again. They can gain 6 life going to 7. That's still lethal. So let's put a Chalice on 2 and make it harder for our cards to get removed. Neat game. Opponent was doing a great job of hanging in there. What do you got? I assume they meant to tap the Grove for colored mana. But, like, seriously, though. Rest in Peace would be so good. Okay, they just have 3 Uros, so that buys them another turn. And that was a shuffle. That's not what I'm looking for. So they have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. They could presumably cast 2 Uros from the graveyard, gain 6. Man, maybe I should have just put it on 3. One black, cling to dust. But the cling to dust got exiled. Cling to dust did get exiled, so it's something else. Also, it's realistic that we might win this one by timeout if our opponent stabilizes. We're both at about 5 minutes of clock. My opponent's graveyard is getting pretty slim. They now need to have something else that answers my stuff. I have 8 damage in the air, they have 7 life. They can't do another Uro from the graveyard. The game goes on. A Plague Engineer. You're still dead through that. That's still 6 in the air. Got it. Feels like got it. GG. Okay. I could have played tighter this league. Just 100% admit that I was tired. I made a handful of boneheaded mistakes. Was not used to thinking about things like Archon of Ameria with Chrome Box and like trying to double spell in the same turn cycle that way. So I got tripped up on that once or twice. And then I just did a couple of suboptimal things in terms of sequencing or shortcuts and whatnot. So Lucas, I think your deck idea was good. I think I only piloted it okay though. Uh, so I want desperately one Tormod's Crypt in the sideboard. That was something that would have just been so good for me. So I think that's the first change that I would want to make. I really liked the Spirit of the Labyrinths that I added to the deck. I think that gave us more early plays, especially after our mulligans when we didn't necessarily have like the crazy mana starts. So I think that was really useful. Archon of Ameria was like crazy good and also a little bit annoying for us at different times. I like this card better in Vintage than Legacy, I think. In Vintage, it's often like really stopping like popular combo decks. And I feel like I tripped over it almost as much as some of our opponents did. But then again, like if we think about the Upsal spell round, if I had like played that on turn 1, that's something that wins me the game in those sorts of matchups. So I don't know. I definitely liked going down on the number of Skyclave apparitions because getting white can be hard. As the games went on, it was fine. So I think rather than 4 of those, about 2 of those felt right. I really liked Legion Angel. Like we got to see that do some serious work here. So the things that are, how do I separate? All right, let's get rid of the sideboard and like talk about the things I really liked. So I really liked the Legion Angels. I really liked Aspirants and Spirits and Chalice of the Voids, and like these are great. And then I feel like some of this stuff has room for adjustment in terms of how many of these you play. I like the idea of the free wins that Karn provides. We could maybe retool the Karn toolbox just a tiny bit and do some adjustments on that end. Thought-Knots here was good. Maybe we don't need 4. These are fine. These are okay. Trinisphere is Trinisphere. So I think there's room for adjustment, but I did enjoy playing this a lot, even if I made a lot of boneheaded mistakes. I'm not trying to kick myself or anything. I'm just like owning up to my mistakes. All right, YouTube folks, if you made it this far, I would really appreciate it if you liked the video. That sort of thing really helps out with the numbers, and I'll be back again soon.